Okay, we
Trying to
should
get my
be
name under
live.
control.
We should be live. Hello, I'm Tonya Davidson, the creator of the Jewelry Makers Guild podcast and a fellow maker of 24 years. It's my quest to learn as much, to try as many different techniques and materials, and then to share it with my fellow artists. So I thought it would be fun to do a podcast, and I started this a couple months ago to see what fellow artists are up to, what inspires them, and what drives them and makes their work so incredibly good. And so today, I would like you to help me please welcome to my podcast, Roberta Pihl. Hi, Roberta.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
For those of you
Good
who
seeing you
don't
again.
For those of you who don't know Roberta, let me introduce her. Roberta was born in upstate New York and she's moved around a lot. And she's been in Oregon for about 13 years, which is where her business got the name Oregon Trail Silver. It began with her attending many of the Black Powder Rendezvous gatherings with her family, where she learned all sorts of handicrafts and arts, including beadwork and leather. She credits her family with teaching her good craftsmanship, art, and of course, a hearty work ethic, which I very much admire. That interest before and after her military service led her to explore metals as she expanded her beading skills. She credits her friends in the greater beading community and metalsmithing community with teaching her the skills to grow her art. The community aspect also filled that brotherhood missing from her military exit. She not only is an accomplished metalsmith, but also a thriving and innovative tool maker. She encourages sharing and growing the skills of her fellow makers through sharing her resources, tools, and techniques via her Facebook group, Metal Arts Misfits, which I am a proud member. In the bottom right-hand corner of the screen below, you'll find Roberta's website, the other side, and her social media pages, which I will be posting at the end of this podcast in the comments section. So be sure to check those out and follow her. I will also post them later again, so if you don't write them down there, you can just copy and paste them out of the comments. Thank you for joining me today, Roberta. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
I know. I was so like, well, can you do this day? Can you do that day? You're so busy. And
That's okay.
as we talk, I'm going to be showing some slides of your work and what you're currently working on and some of your tools. So if anytime you want to jump in and tell us something about that slide, please do, so that we can
Sure.
get the most information out of you. So, so for my first question is, I want to know what sparked your creative inspiration when you were little, or in your teenage years or young adult years, that took you down this path of creating and even becoming a tool maker. Can you share with us your earliest memory about making tools?
Yes. Making tools or making jewelry?
Or both?
Uh,
Both.
Both. Making jewelry was with my dad. We used to go to these rendezvous, and my dad and my aunt, we call her my aunt. My aunt Chris used to do a lot of beadwork, and she would take porcupine quills, mostly seed bead, do a lot of the primitive style beaded earrings and such, the long ones. And she and my dad got me really interested in that. My dad's always been pretty big on art. And then as soon as I got out of the military, I just found myself in a position that really required me to have a hobby. I needed to do something with my hands all the time. And so my boss had reintroduced me, his wife had reintroduced me to seed beading again. And I just kind of took off from there. So
Do you do any
the tools
beading at
was
all?
a fluke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah. I used to do a lot of beading. Not so much anymore. I've pretty much given all of that away. I found that when I get to play with fire, I get a bigger thrill.
Yeah.
So,
So what was your impetus for the tools? Do you remember your earliest love for playing with tools or modifying tools?
the first time I remember playing with tools, I was 2 years old. We're helping my dad work on his Datsun. And I've always loved tools, but I didn't really have an explicit interest in them, in making them or anything like that until I was about 4 or 5 years ago when I started making the metal stamps, and that was a complete fluke. It was just, I couldn't afford anybody else's tools, and I got a couple of books, and my husband works in steel. And so he taught me how to work with it, how to do the work hardening and everything. And, you know, along with the rest of the resources, which I've shared with people in the past.
Yeah.
I just started making them. People kept saying that they wanted to buy them. And I said, okay.
Worked
Okay.
out. It worked out well.
It worked out. Yeah.
I think
I think
that
so.
I think a person, when I look at them, they're like a mix of all the things that they've experienced in their life or people that they've met. And so for me, I think about the perfect stew or a quilt, you know, because each square on a quilt is sort of different, but yet it all goes together, even though it could be completely different. And all of those little things make up who we are in our work and what our work becomes, our voice. So I wanted to know, what would be your quilt squares? Who would that comprise, or what experiences in your life would comprise your quilt, and what makes your art and your tools the way they are?
Aside from those that I've already mentioned, my dad, my Aunt Les and Uncle Chris, or my Uncle Les and my Aunt Chris, my boss's wife. In all honesty, I really feel like like a vast majority of the members of our community are responsible for it. Now, the bracelet that's shown right there, Richard Barrett is one of the ones. He's one of my squares. He showed me how to put what people affectionately call the rails on those bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
So he would definitely be one of them. I've been wanting to make something like that for years and years and years, and it wasn't until he showed me. Craig Dabler, he's the one who really wanted me to, you know, to join the Let's Make Jewelry page, and was able to get my name out. You know, he's definitely a big square. You, Kevin Potter, every single member of this community that's been good to me and has shared with me and has allowed me to share with them. And I've gotten feedback from that. You know, I feel like everybody just kind of bleeds together, you know, fairly evenly. So
Well, you certainly have helped a lot
I
of
feel
people.
like I have to credit everybody. No, they've helped me, and I just share what they helped me with.
Yeah.
I can't take all the credit.
It's really nice. It's such a nice circle where the energy comes back around, because when I first saw you, you know, when you were first starting to sell your tools, I would watch your lives, and you would just answer any question and show anything. And then you also shared where you learned it from. So then I started watching Richard's videos, and it's really interesting how there's so many people in the community that give so freely. And so we're not really self-taught. I mean, we are self-taught, but we're also taught by so many people who have taught us. And if they hadn't shared these things, we wouldn't be as far along, or we would have made a whole lot more mistakes or burnt up a whole lot more metal. So it's really wonderful and beautiful that you give credit to those people who've come before you and helped you in that way also. Love it.
They deserve it. They really do.
But you've done the same for so many people too. So I'm sure that they feel the same, that it's, you know, it's just come right back around. So I appreciate it. I've learned stuff from you too.
I've learned a lot more from you. I've got some videos to fix.
So
anyhow,
I think the best art comes from people who have a dying need to say something, to communicate through their work, to leave their mark, if you will. So what drives your work? Is there something that you identify with that is like a burning desire to share, and how that comes across in your work?
Definitely. Patterns. I like finding patterns.
How many patterns do you have now in your work? Have you ever counted them?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Because you just keep coming up with more too.
I know. No, I haven't counted them yet. I will, and I'll get back to you. No, I feel like the pattern, not just the pattern plates, but patterns in the way that things go together, where you can take two different things, two different shapes, and put them together, kind of like a puzzle piece. And so what I like to be able to do is to take these puzzle pieces and these patterns and arrange them in a manner that just feels good to me. I enjoy the challenge behind it. You know, I feel like the drive just comes from, like, these are pieces that I may never, that I have worn and that I will wear, but they're pieces that I didn't make specifically for me to wear. I made them just to see something beautiful come together. And that makes me feel good inside. So I feel like that's more of a drive for me.
That's a really nice segue into my next question for you, which is that a lot of people, I see a lot of artists who can't part with their work because they get so invested in it. And then there's the other group of artists who for them it's about the journey and about the making and like challenging yourself and trying something out, whether you fail or succeed, and then what you learn from that, and then you're ready to move on to the next piece, and you know it's done. It's like it's a part of your past and you're on to the next thing. So for you,
Hmm.
which is more of you do you identify with?
I would say I identify with the person that a little bit of both. I definitely enjoy the journey. For me, being able to take these pieces and put them together and just make something beautiful, is a big thing. But I definitely have a really hard time letting go of
You
that.
do?
I have every single one of those bracelets still.
So you have to
I
pick
haven't
days that you're
sold
going to wear
one.
them all.
I do. I do. In fact, whenever I go someplace, I'll pick one out and I'll go, okay, I'll wear it, you know. But yeah, I have a very difficult time letting go of it because, every single one of those is probably between uh 16 to, because I'll roll my silver out as well. So it's between 16 and 16 hours and 2 days. And that's some straight work.
Yeah.
Most of those, when I start working, I can't stop until I'm done. Like little, I have this time bomb in my brain that says, if you stop now, you know,
Never
but
finish.
yeah, I get very, very, very attached to my work very, very quickly. But I do have a lot of pieces that I would like to be able to sell, that I would like to be able to make and sell. Uh, Time just hasn't been my friend. So
Well, you have a lot on your
when I
plate.
do have the time, I will.
You have a lot
Hopefully,
on
it's
your
going to get easier
plate.
soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. So most people probably know you from your tools, but and you started making your stamps and your texture plates. So what was the impetus for starting to make your own tools? I know you started with stamps first, but what was like,
Yep.
okay, now I'm going to make this and I'm going to figure out how to do that. Why? What drove you to that? Besides wanting to not being able to afford or, to buy as many stamps so you thought you could make them. What
Yeah.
drove you to be a tool maker?
Um, I'll be honest with you. I used to work for a local company, answering phone calls for a cell phone company. It's a fun little nightmare job. It takes an awful lot of patience, and I did pretty good at it. I think for the whole month and a half that I was there. But right around the same time that I started that job, when I started making the metal stamps, and honestly, it was just a hobby. I didn't want to turn it into anything big. Everybody gets so stuck on the idea, and this is a huge, huge lesson in life for me, for my kids. Everybody gets so stuck on the idea that you have to go to work and that you have to have an employer and that you have to have
Mm.
somebody else, telling you what to do so that you can make a living. And I never realized how much I didn't want that until I worked for this phone company for a couple months while I was doing the tools. And I told my husband, I said, I make $200 a month for 40 hours a week. And he goes, working for this company. This is at the end of the month after expenses. And he says, okay. I said, I'm going to quit and I'm going to start doing this instead. Because at least here, even with taxes, I feel like I'm my own boss here and I'm doing much better. The texture plates came along a little bit later. It was actually Melody Stark Kerwick Brassard.
Mm.
Ha, got it. I knew I could get it. I love you, Melody. Uh, Anyhow, it was actually Melody who had approached me and said, we're getting, a lot of people are very interested in these texture plates that are coming in from India, but we would like to see, a lot of us artists would like to see something that was coming here from the United States. Can you make them? I'm like, I could figure it out. It'll take me some time. 6 months later, and I'm making texture plates. And then as the last 2 years have gone by, I went from making some of the most basic and very, very, very simple designs because Melody had asked me to a lot of what people are seeing today. So just, if you look back over the evolution, I'm seeing that this has become more of a business. The texture plates do very well because they're so versatile.
Mhm.
And it was only because the community had asked me, or someone in the community had asked me, sell your stamps. Can you make these? Can you try? So, and it started this huge fad. It's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you can't keep up with demand. It's they're fantastic.
Thank you very much.
So, do you have a favorite tool with your jewel or a technique with your jewelry and a favorite technique with your tools that you love to do? Like it those when you like when I get to light a torch, I'm like, yes, anytime I can solder or light a torch or fuse something. So, what is your
Yeah.
favorite technique that you just love to do? Like you would not hesitate in a minute to do it.
Pick soldering.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I used to hate pick soldering. I despised it. I'm like, why would anybody put themselves through learning this? This is stupid. Hand-eye coordination. I'm not a video game player. And then I finally, I forget, it was on a certain piece, and I think it was from one that I sold. Um, and I finally said, I can't get this solder in there. And I tried to pick soldering again. And of course, this is after the rest of my skills are slowly advancing thanks to the community again. And so I tried to pick soldering again. I'm like, wow, that was super effective. And then ever since then, I can't get enough of it. Most everything that I do now when I'm soldering on is pick soldering. I don't, even if I'm doing sweat soldering, I don't just like drop the paneling. No, no, no. So much more precise. I think that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite one. But I'm a little crazy, I think. So
When you make your tools, what part of the process do you like the most? Is it the design, figuring out the design, or is it the layout, or is it the actual etching, or whatever the process is that you do for your tools? Which is the part that you love the most?
aside from packing them up and getting them the heck out of my studio so that other people can use them.
Is that when you do your Snoopy
No, that's
dance?
not. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, we're rocking and rolling. We're gonna be shipping tomorrow. No, I think that very genuinely, and that was just more of a joke. Sorry. I think more genuinely, it's finding and coming up with the designs. We'll do internet searches, and I'll buy a lot of my designs off from images and stuff like that, and a lot of them we edit and we make them ours between my daughter and I. And my new employee, Valerie, is going to be helping me out with coming up with a lot of these designs here soon too. But I think that putting them together, I want to say between picking those out, putting them together, but the best part I think is seeing them work, because that's when I jump around the studio whooping and hollering, and I'm not even kidding, going, yeah, I'm good. It's when they don't work where I go, I kind of saw that coming. It's when I don't expect them to work and they do, and I'm like, okay, now I got to do it 3 more times just to make sure I can do this 3 more times, because I'm probably going to sell a lot of these. So I think that's probably my favorite part, is seeing a design actual work.
Do you take suggestions or recommendations from customers? Like if I wanted a texture and I needed some design, I could just send it to you and maybe it would become a texture plate?
Yep. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of people asking me if I do customs. I don't do customs. I don't have time. 1 week of orders is me booked for the month.
Yeah.
So what I do, especially like with November coming up, I'm going to have some new designs coming out for November. What I will do is when somebody says, hey, I found this great pattern, or, I'm looking for a pattern that looks something like this. If they can send me an image that's in black and white and repeatable, or at least something I can edit to make it black and white or repeatable, then I will make that texture plate for them and give it to them for free.
Wow.
If they let me use it in a sale. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
So if they let me use it in a sale and it's not a custom one-off,
right.
I'll do that. But the problem with that is I have a whole list. And so you kind of have to get on the list. And as I find them, like, let's say somebody wanted me to make a succulent plate. Oh. So, that's like probably, closer towards the bottom of the list of things that I look for. But somebody else asked me to make Japanese fans, like actual Japanese fans. I cannot to this day find one yet. So I'm probably going to have that one drawn out by my daughter. So, I can't find that one. I can't find the 5 or 6 above it, but I need 12 new designs to come out. So then I'll start picking through and finding designs. I think I can find a succulent one though. So I can't promise it for every sale, but I do have a running list.
Yeah, that's cool. So what is on your bench now? Tell us about this project you have.
The project that's still sitting here and it's been sitting here for a little while.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. This one is, it's my Dragonflies plate, and I love this plate. And I
Ooh.
saw that and knew right away that I really wanted to make a ring out of it. And this is with Kevin Potter's pancake die. I think Joni drew this one out for him. So I wanted to be able to build this ring and put it together. And it's still sitting here waiting for a bezel. Those are my Turkish Alshak rug earrings. I have them sitting here too. I don't want to say I lost inspiration. I'm trying to find the right pieces to put together with it. There are very, 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 very rare occasions, because I don't like leaving things sitting around. You know, I sometimes have to go, okay, there's something missing here and I just don't have that part yet.
Yeah.
So I have to let that one sit for a little while until I find the rest of the parts. That one, I'm highly tempted to finish this weekend. That is my Snowflake lace texture plate, and a Intarsia from Daryl Adams, and I love it. And I really want to make that. The top one's the silver. So once I get that one going, I have some impression dies and such that I want to use with that. But once I get that one going, I think it'll go pretty quick.
Is that going to be a cuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be another, I had a really, really wide cuff that I had made. Let's see if that's going to work.
Yep.
I had a really, really wide cuff that I was going to make a while ago. Oh, no, I did. You showed it, the green one with all the filigree leaves on it. So with that one, I actually had to cut the ends at an angle. And then when I folded it over, it would conform to my upper arm or my lower forearm, because it was so long or so wide. So I'm going to do the same thing with that one. Hopefully get the angles right.
So you've got 4 projects and then a whole new employee and new designs.
Yeah.
You don't sleep, do you?
Yeah. You know, 4 hours at least. Yeah.
Okay. You're young, so you can handle that because you're young, but it'll catch up with you.
Oh, I was going to say, it's starting to catch up. It's starting to. Yep.
So my next question is there something that you do to prepare yourself for a creative day, or just for any day that you have so much to do? You have 3 kids and it's a lot to handle. What do you do? Do you have a ritual that gets you in the space of creating or of being productive and efficient, other than your new employee, which is helping you with the productivity side of it?
Productivity?
Yeah.
No. I get up and go to work.
There isn't massive amounts of coffee?
I could be more.
There isn't massive amounts of coffee? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I don't even get that far. No, I very honestly, I'm that kind of person that, bless his heart, my husband wakes up and starts talking right away. I can't handle that.
No.
I can't do it. I love him. And he's working for himself now. He's taken my route, and we have some new stuff planned for him. But for me, for him, it's get up and talk, and for me, it's get up and work. Yeah. Get out of my way, give me my daggone coffee, and I'm going to work. So that's it. And then as I get going, and my blood gets flowing, as soon as I walk into the studio, I'm like, yep, let's do this. That's it.
Well, that's
unfortunately nothing inspirational. I'm sorry.
Well, it sounds to me like you have a lot of passion about serving other people, and that's what gets you going every day. And so
Definitely.
Just thinking about, taking care of your family and helping other artists with their work and giving them tools is the passion that is pushing you forward to go in your studio every morning.
I would say that is a nice, more refined way of saying how I get started in the morning. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
welcome.
Well said.
Yeah, my husband is up like 2 hours before me, and he's probably had a pot of coffee. And when I get up, I'm like, stay awake, be quiet. I need my coffee first. We're totally different. So,
Jason, I wear earplugs to bed. We get up about the same time though. So I try, if I can get up and just go down to the studio, at least I can hide and wake up for a minute.
Yeah. I'll make a sign for your door. Do you have a door in your studio?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes right out to my kitchen.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, that's nice. It's next
Yeah,
to the coffee.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's also
That's,
next. It's also like right across the way from the bar. We,
oh,
hey, we know, we know.
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
So, what does your perfect studio day look like when you're not, when it's time for you to play and it's not your production day?
I'm so glad that you asked that. I would say I love repeating the projects that I've done before, the types of projects that I've done before, so that I can refine, my different techniques and keep in practice. But I would say my perfect day is when I can break out some new tools and new techniques and try, other people's suggestions and see how they work for me, and really give everything an honest go. I have a box of sample enamels that I am dying to get my hands on.
Mhm.
I have a few various new tools that I really want to play with. I've seen other people whose work has been just so severe, so highly inspirational. I want to be able to, and my perfect day would be to be able to go into my studio, not worry about a thing, sit down and engrave for an hour or two and get my practice in there, and then just try new things and see what I can do with them. Because what happens later on at night when I can't sleep, because this is a real thing, is I reflect back on that day and on all the new things that I have tried. And if I go, well, that didn't work, or that worked, but I've got a brilliant idea, and I'm inspired all over again. So the next time I've got time to go in and play, I can try what I thought maybe I could do a little bit different the next time. So I would say that would be my perfect day in the studio, is just getting to play and learn new things.
Not enough hours in the day.
No,
No.
nope, nope,
So,
not enough days in the week.
speaking of that, how do you manage marketing and business, business tasks and ordering your steel and your other tools and shipping and sourcing? Do you find that the only way you can deal with it is to break it down so you're doing like certain days you do certain things, or and you're stay real organized about that? Or do you have any tips for how you fit all that into your productivity and your efficiency?
Um, you know, a good businesswoman would say keep a schedule and keep a list, and all. No, I don't do any of that. I wing it. Uh, I Most of the time I just try and make sure I keep ahead on my materials. I try and make sure that I keep ahead on my steel. I know when I go out and look at my packaging, the boxes of the big red the little red envelopes everybody loves getting in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go out and I grab them, if I'm on my very last big box of that, then I need to get onto Proline and order some more. And I do that like right then and there. If I'm, oh, let's see, I know exactly how much steel that I have because I keep it all in the same place. And I kind of feel like that might just be a huge key for it, is if I keep it all in the same place, when I visually see that I'm starting to get a little bit low, like and I mean like 2 weeks from now I'm going to run out, then I'll order more, because it can sometimes take a week or two for it to come in. And I don't like being out materials. I don't, people wait long enough for the tools. I don't want them to wait anymore. So as far as the marketing and everything else, a lot of that stuff will happen late at night and get scheduled later.
Mm-hmm.
you know, um,
Do you,
I try and fit in as much in a day as I possibly can.
do you use Facebook mostly for your selling? And do you like
Mostly.
to sell? Do you do shows
I
or
do.
yeah?
I used to do shows. I used to do shows and actually sell my jewelry. But I've gotten so busy now, I don't have time. Plus, with the coronavirus thing, you can't really do an awful lot of your shows. So,
Right.
but I stopped selling jewelry a couple of years ago. I use Facebook, Instagram, and I have a newsletter on my website at OregonTrailSilver.com. And that newsletter gets sent out every single time I have a sale. Every single time. And it's not really a sale. It doesn't mean that like, oh, the prices will go up. It
Right.
pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
So every time that I offer pre-orders on designs, I'll send out an email, and that lets everybody know right off the bat. And then I'll throw something up on Facebook and something else up on Instagram.
So that's how you launch all your texture tool
Mm-hmm.
collections. You're just gonna, and that's that's
Yep.
the way a lot of people are doing their jewelry now, is really basing their sales off of the urgency and scarcity model where you're going to only
Hmm.
have it a few days and first come first serve, and that gets people to buy faster than anything because they know they can't get it later
Yeah.
and someone else will get it before them, and they're just waiting and they're clicking trying to get the
Yeah.
next thing before somebody else. It's a brilliant
Yeah.
sales model, and it takes a lot of the pressure
It
off of
is.
the seller because you don't feel like you're having to be salesy. It's just, it's putting out all the cookies on the table and watching them getting eaten.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that because I've seen some people actually really utilize that model. And and for a while there, I was wondering if I was doing something wrong by doing that because now I'll get a massive amount of orders inside of a week, and I'm like, no, I did this to slow things down so that these orders can stop after the week. Because if I leave them open for, and I did this, oh, that was a huge mistake. When was it? It must have been June. I left 45 designs up for like 2 months
Mhm.
straight, and I thought, okay, maybe this will slow things down. And not that I want things to slow down. I'm just trying different things, you know. So
Right.
if there is a month where I would prefer for it to be, no, it didn't make a difference. So what I found was that by holding them for a week and then cutting those designs off, the pre-orders off, the way that I do it, there's no limit on quantity. So you don't have to worry about, well, I'm sold out of the honeycomb texture plate, or I'm sold out of the snowflake lace texture plate, and no, I can't make any more. Yes, I'll make some more. No, there's none of that for me. It's essentially, if you want it, there's 1 week, and there's lots of ways to get a hold of me when it comes to sale. If you need more time, that's fine. But there's 1 week time period where I take in all of my orders, and then I'm done. Unless somebody gets a hold of me and says, well, can I have a little extra time? That's fine. Fine. Just don't starve yourself to get tools, please.
Right.
Um, so I feel like it works well for other people because um, with them, especially signing up for that newsletter, they're always going to have that email that comes in that says, hey, here's what we have available. If you see something that you're interested in, it's there. Um, and that way they don't really feel a whole heck of a lot of pressure, I hope. So, and they know that a lot of these designs will also make a comeback. I will bring a lot of my designs back. And most of the time I give them a chance to tell me which ones that they want. So if they want to see something make a comeback, I can do that for them. No big deal. But, so we'll do a little poll on the Oregon Trail Silver News and Updates page, and then we'll let them decide. So these guys, if they miss a design in one pre-order sale, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of that design. I will be bringing it back. It's just a matter of time and popularity at the moment.
So you
I
have
try and take care of them.
a ton of your own plates behind you and in
Mm-hmm.
front of you. So do you have any
Yeah.
tips on organizing? Because is that like an IKEA bars and hooks, or is it? How do you organize it so you can find, like, is it by alphabetical order? Is it by theme?
So funny that you asked that, because a couple of weeks ago when Valerie and I were in here, we do a live feed on my Facebook page every time I start up a sale. And with these 30 new plate or 30 pre-made plates, I was like, okay, we have to find this design. And I bring up the picture and show her, and we're scanning along the wall. I didn't see it that time. Okay, let's start from this side. So there really is no rhyme or reason for how they're set up there, but I can tell you how they're set up there. I use it's the Craftsman slat wall is what it is. The Craftsman, it's a Versatrack is what it is. And you can buy them in 4-foot long panels. And then basically they just kind of like, you put the screws in the ends and then you stack the other one up, kind of like siding. They kind of click together a little bit. And then they've got these things so that you can actually connect them. So I've got an 8 feet over here. I think it's 8 feet. So it's 8 feet wide. There's, 2 sets that are stacked next to each other. So that Versatrack, you can actually buy these hanging hook attachments for it. That I like them. I think they work really well. But what I love to be able to hang these from, I'm about 100% certain they come from China, but they're all from Amazon. They're called Be Wish Home boot hangers. So they're boot hangers. They have a little rubber ends on the clamps,
Uh-huh.
so that they're not going to scratch the metal. They're not going to slip off on accident. They're really, really firm too. So I hang them up off from these little boot hangers on the slat wall. But if you have pegboard, you can hang them up on a pegboard too. I've done that as well.
That's really cool.
Hooks. For me, I do it this way because it's easy to see.
I like it, and I didn't know what was, holding it so tight that they didn't fall down all the time. So that makes sense. The boot hangers make sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and later on I can jump in the comments too and be able to share links to those.
That'd be great. Even if you want to take a close-up picture of the wall, because it's kind of blurry behind you. It might just be my glasses, but
yeah,
if I don't have these, I can't read. So that would be great to see. So let's talk a little bit about your studio assistants and helpers, and tell us a little bit about them. Because they're as important in our studios. I feel like they listen to me swear, they listen to me laugh, they listen to me you do my Snoopy dance, and I don't know what I would do.
And they chew on your stump.
Yeah, I don't. Oh yeah,
and they chew on your stump.
My stump explodes. She's so funny.
I used to. This is Stella, shown in the picture. Stella is nearly as pathetic as she looks in the picture. She's amazing. She's not very bright. The only thing that she is really, really good for is looking adorable and pathetic at the same time, and lots and lots and lots of love. So as long as she's somewhere around me, and she's not in here right now, but as long as she's somewhere around me, she's happy. Oh, that's my Zip.
And
we lost Zip a couple months ago.
He's not with us anymore.
He's a good boy.
He looks so furry.
He's so fuzzy, and like that right there, that was it for him. He's like, that's my spot, and I'm done. As long as he was right in the front of a doorway, that was it. He was happy. So if he knew that I was walking from in here to the other shop multiple times, he'd park his little butt right in front of that door, where he's at right there. If he knew I was over in this area and I'm silversmithing or doing something, he had to make sure that I was straddling him. And I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but yeah, he was my very, very, very dedicated shop buddy for years.
I remember you talking about him on lives when he was always in the way. You were like going to step over something on the live.
Yeah. Oh, that's Annie Oakley. We got her, we call her Annie Oakley, or Pistol Annie. We got Annie when we were in Tucson. My husband was thrilled. Was it last year? Oh, he was so excited. He drove me to the puppy place and everything, so he can't complain. Anyhow, so we found Annie in Tucson, and I fell in love with her, and I brought her home. And Jason has warmed up to her since. But anyhow, so yeah, she is a boxer we got down there in Tucson during our first trip down there. We drove, and she is just a super happy, stupid. Like, she's a puppy. She's only a year old, like a little over a year old, almost a year and a half now.
And boxers are kind of crazy.
She's not supposed to be.
Boxers are kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and she, she's not terribly bright, but she is still a puppy, and I don't know if she'll ever grow out of it because she's a bully breed. But she is the best cuddler, and she is one of the best snugglers. Like, she's the only dog that gives kisses, which is fine because we don't much care for it anyways. But she is the only one that gives kisses. The kids love that. And she was running in and out of here today, just bugging the crap out of me because I leave the doors open when I work. But she was the one that kept running in and out today. I think she's trying to take Zip's place as my speed bump. So.
And then you have this bird, but it's not really yours anymore, is it?
No, she stole him.
Yeah.
She flat out stole him. No. It's my daughter Lillian. Lillian is she's helps me find designs, or if I say, hey, what would you like to put up? And she says, well, I want to do something with birds. It's always something with birds. And so she's the one who helps me find these designs and puts them together. Whenever the mood strikes her. Sam used to be my bird. I got her 2 cockatiels to make her happy. And I was like, well, I want a bird. He's not my bird anymore. He screams. He screams like mad, and I just throw Cheez-Its at him. Shut up. Oh, my Sheena dog. Sheena has been with me longer than anyone in the family except for Lillian. I got Sheena. Lily just turned 14. I got Sheena when she was when both of them were 2, so they're both the same age. I adopted her from the local Humane Society. First time I met her, I knelt down. You know, because you always kneel down and get kind of on their level. And she just walks up and she plows her head into my chest. And every single day, she comes up and she sticks her head between my knees and she's like, "Give me a hug." But Sheena's a good girl. We let her in the shop. She comes in. All she does, she pulls a zip. She just finds her corner and she lays down. Only she's out of the way, thank goodness. She comes in, she lays down, and then she just, she's like, "Okay, I'm done," until that door opens and somebody doesn't close it, and then she's in the garbage.
Oh gosh.
So, yeah. And then my husband, Jason, he's pretty cool.
He is cool.
He's as cool as he looks in that picture. Yeah, he is. I like him.
We like him a lot.
Thank you. Oh, that's my daughter, Caitlin. We were at the beach. Katie is, I would say, out of all of my kids in the family, I would say that Caitlin, even though we haven't really made much of a presence for her on social media, which I'm actually okay with considering she's 10.
Yeah.
Caitlin, I would say, is the one that's more interested in learning. She's the one who, like, Lillian comes in here to help because she has to. Caitlin wants to come in here and help. Caitlin wants to come in here and learn. She wants to play with metal. "Mom, can I play with your metal stamps? Mom, can I have a piece of copper? Can you show me some stuff?" So she's the one that here very shortly, now that she's getting old enough now, and I'm not going to leave her alone with a torch or anything, because she will burn the house down on accident, given half a chance. But she's the one I really feel, even though Lillian's very good at it, I think that Katie's the one has more of a drive to learn the craft.
Neat.
So, yeah.
So she'll be in the studio soon.
Very, very soon. Well, she comes in and out anyways, yeah. Oh, my boy. Oh, Connor. He is my favorite nightmare. He's my favorite nightmare. He is, and I say that with all the love in my heart. I am a very, very, very proud mother of a little boy. Like, I love him. He is so fun and so busy.
The boys
all
are.
The time.
Boys are harder. They're harder in the beginning,
yeah.
but they're easier in the end.
Yes. I hope so. It used to be that he would get a new toy or something, or he would come into my studio and he would find something to tear apart just because he could. He's the type of little boy that finds a button and goes, "What's that do?" and then push it. Like, there's no, it's all impulse. But as he's growing, he's also learning, he's learning that there's an order to things, and it's very evident in the way that he puts together his Legos now. So now when he gets a Lego kit, it's not just like, "Oh yeah, Legos," and throw them all over the floor and try and make something out of it that's completely. No, I was completely shocked over the course of this last year. He's learned how to use the instruction booklets.
Wow.
So it looks like his impulsiveness is starting to slow down. But he's my little shop dude. Every time I do a live feed, if he's home, you can count on him coming in. "Hi, everybody."
That's awesome.
But he does like to come in here and hang out. So, yeah.
Well, he's not shy, and he's willing to experiment and try things, and that's really exceptional for children. You don't want them to be afraid of anything. I mean, you wish the boys would have a little bit of fear, but it's hard to keep them alive for the first 15 years or so. But after that, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So we have a special for anyone who's on the call and in this group. You were so generous to do this, and you never give discounts and do this kind of thing. And I asked, would you be willing to do a plate for just our group? So everyone has an opportunity to order this Bohemian Weed Patch, and I just shortened it for the graphic. But this particular texture plate, it's 15% off. You only have 24 hours to order it if you want to save the money on this one, and it's a really great deal. And the code for ordering this, we will post the website and the link in the comments, but the code is JMG for Jewelry Makers Guild 15. So if you guys want to check this out and you would like to pick up a plate at a super good deal that she never offers, you have 24 hours to do it. So it's going to end at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And these will ship the week of Thanksgiving. So just keep in mind that her plates usually take 4 to 6 weeks before they're out the door. So you just have to have a little bit of patience. And she might get them out early, you never know, but it's always good to be pleasantly surprised and not be disappointed. So thank you so much for offering this. And then we will make sure everyone in the group knows, but they have to watch this in order to get the code. We won't be telling anyone what the code is until they come. So thank you so much.
And that's ordinarily, that's ordinarily an $80 plate. And I never give discounts because if I did, I would never get anywhere. It would be essentially digging a hole with a spoon, you know, just trying to, you know, escape from the prison of orders, which I love. But yeah, so that's an $80 plate that we're doing 15% off, and it ends October 22nd at 5 p.m.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
And this is used on the locket too, and the locket is a great example, and also on this hair comb. So if you want to look up that up close, we will make sure to post that as well so you can see it. But so now this is my favorite part. I love tools because I owned a jewelry tool and supply company for 10 years, and I live for tools. How to use tools. I buy too many tools. I'm a tool hoarder. So this, I love asking because every person that I have done a podcast with has a different set of their top 10 tools, which I find fascinating. So let's start with your number 10. This is like David Letterman. Did you ever watch it? Are you too young to know what David? Okay, the top 10. Okay,
yeah, so I didn't grow up with cable TV. I grew up with Antenna, the rabbit ears.
Me too.
Yeah, we watched it.
Me too. Okay, so your number 10 is your pumice annealing pan. I love mine too. It's great. It's nice to be able to turn it, and you can clamp on your third arms onto the edge if you use those. I don't happen to like those, but some people find them easy and to use. The number 9 is your frets hammers. Do you have a favorite?
No, not so much. Maybe a little bit more towards the planishing. I use that for forging my ingots out before I roll them, either ingots or bullion. So I would say I probably use that one the most.
I like, I use the silk one a lot, the silk texture. And then I like the one that has the circles. I have all the different sizes of the circle heads. So when you hit them, it makes like round circle holes or dots or whatever. I love that one. This is number 8 is your Grs Benchmate, which I also love. So handy. I thought I could live without it. Now I don't know how I ever live without it.
Yeah, same here. The bench pin, I actually put a different bench pin in mine. I love that thing. Ever since I hate doing rings and everything, but when I do rings, the ring thing is just
Isn't it
beautiful.
Great? Yeah.
Yeah, the ring mandrel.
Which bench pin
do you like use? The inside or the outside? I got from Amazon. It's just I like it because it has a lot of different grooves and a lot of different cuts in it. And as soon as we get moved and we have a bigger shop, I would like to be able to make those.
Yeah.
You know, but because I can't find it anymore. I can't find it again anymore. So, but which one do you like? Do you like the inside or the outside ring mandrel? They have for the holders.
I have
where it holds it from the inside or it holds it from the inside.
Oh,
they have
one.
The clamp.
The clamp one. I like the clamp one.
The clamp, yeah, that's
I have all the little inserts and I never use them. I should just de-stash them, but I don't tend to like to give away any of my tools, even if I don't use them.
That's the same way I am. I do if I have an extra, I'll give it away.
I'm one of those, a girl likes to change her mind. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, I'll try it. And then I fall in love with it. And then I won't use the other thing. So I'm a weirdo.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I have used that inside ring one a couple of times. And it's pretty handy for any ring band that has that Y, something that widens at the top and comes really, really narrow. I really do like it for those kinds of rings.
I use my Lindsay for that. The new Lindsay ring holder in the vise.
I just got one. Got one in the mail.
Those are nice. Yep. Speaking of Lindsay, your number 7 is Lindsay Engraving Tools, and these are the vices. And you have the Goliath or the Titan, right? You have the
I have a Goliath, and I just got the palm graver, as a
palm
matter of
control.
fact.
I'm waiting
Yeah,
for
the
his
palm
new
control one.
one. His new one is coming out in a couple weeks. I've been hounding him for almost a year.
I've heard.
I just wrote him again, and he's like, "You're on my list. You're on my list." I'm like, "Okay, that means I shouldn't write you anymore to ask you where it is." But
Oh, he is. Go ahead.
oh, I had the turntable one because I bought his
Oh, yeah.
turntable stand, and then I had the
Hmm.
turntable vise, but it didn't work for me very well. So I'm waiting. I sold
Hmm.
it. So I'm like, well, what am I going to use if he doesn't come out with this new tool soon? So I'm trying to like prod him a little bit. Let's
Right.
get that out. Let's get that
Yeah.
out.
Well, I'll be honest. I have his the Goliath. He has one called shucks. He's gonna smack me for not remembering the name of it. Uh, it's anyhow. It's a slide and lock, so you can unlock
Yes.
it, and the very very top one slides, so that you don't have to like adjust the entire vise.
Yeah.
So I really really love that for the Goliath, but I wanted to get something that was a little bit smaller to be able to move back and forth as well while I practiced.
That's the
So I
cam
got the
lock.
palm graver,
It's
the
the
cam
cam
lock.
lock, yeah.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
his new one
Yep.
coming out is that's what I'm waiting for is he's making a low profile cam lock vise.
Yes.
So
He's been
that's
working on
what
that for a
yeah,
while.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
All of his tools, anytime anybody says, yep, anytime anyone says, well, I want to get into engraving, I'm like, look, this is not one of those techniques where you can start off with a butane torch and like,
yeah,
a fire brick, because you can start off with that. If you're going to start off engraving, and my experience is don't settle for less when it comes to the tools. Save
yeah,
up, save for the tools. This is probably one of the I mean, unless I'm wrong, I know that metal clay is really expensive, but that's just for the material.
yeah,
But for engraving, I want to say that the one technique that you are going to put more money into between tools and classes and get a great return out of it, as long as you know what you're doing and you actually pay attention and you utilize them, is going to be your engraving tools. And I
yeah,
always refer everybody to Lindsay tools. I
yeah,
have some GRS tools as well, and they're great, they're fabulous, but nothing compares to his sharpening systems, that's his palm graver that he has.
yeah.
Nothing compares to them at all. I've been so impressed by between everything else that I've tried and these, and that includes his vices. So,
Yeah, they're so well made, and I didn't know
oh
which one
yeah.
to buy. So I had gone to GRS for a week and spent a week using their tools, and then I took William Rice's classes at his house and tried his
Yep, me too.
inset and his the palm engraver, and just fell in love with the palm engraver. So I bought that one, and then I ended up also
Amazing.
getting the classic because I needed I do a lot of texturing, and so I needed the
Hmm.
longer hand piece, and that doesn't work in this one. So I
Right.
like, and then you get the
Oh,
microscope.
it does now.
Oh yeah, oh
It
yeah,
does now.
yeah.
He has a new collet attachment. Yep.
But the only problem is it's so long in your hand you can't use your palm to get it to go.
Yeah.
So the other one has a foot
Yeah.
pedal. So I just bought the other one too.
Yep.
But I've got the microscope, and
Yeah.
then you get the vices. It's probably like you said, the most expensive thing you
Yeah.
can get into. So you
The
really have to want to be
classes.
serious about it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you really do. And then you also have to know that um, it's one of those skills, and this is why I don't share a lot of my engraving practice work. It's one of those skills where you really have to be super duper confident. I have to be confident enough to share my work with people in order to be able to like cut into a 45 slide,
yeah,
or pick an antique shotgun and want to
yeah,
dress it up a little bit or something. Which is kind of where I wanted to go with this ever since I was a kid. That was when I first learned about engraving, or do like brass nameplates and such. You really have to dedicate yourself, especially when you're putting it on something that's super expensive or that belongs to somebody else.
yeah.
So for me, I think it's probably, I want to say it is one of the most time, money, and dedication intensive techniques that we have in this craft. And you can't, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah, I totally
Would be my
agree.
advice.
And I'll just
Do it with Lindsay Gravers.
interject that Wes Griffin has online classes and they are incredible.
Yes.
I have taken every one of his
Thank you.
classes, and he is one of the moderators for Jewelry Makers Guild, although he's so busy he doesn't really do a lot of input on the group. But
Hi, Wes.
he is a fantastic teacher. So if anybody wants to get into it, maybe his classes are very inexpensive. You could take it to just watch it to see if it's something that lights you on fire. Because that's really the best way to know, is to go take a class somewhere and use their tools like I did at GRS and kind of figure it out, or William Rice's, who's in Tucson.
Yeah,
So if
Bill
anyone
Rice,
comes to Tucson for Jim Show.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's really great. Okay, your number
Yeah, he's
6
a fantastic instructor.
is I always say
Peppy.
Peppy. I want to
would say
Pepe. Disc cutters. I love this. I have the oval one too. Do you have all? Well,
me too.
You're a distributor, right? So, or a dealer?
Yeah, very quietly. I'm here if you need tools. I'm here. That's what I do. Yeah, I am a distributor. I have a few of those in stock right now. I want to say that the reason why I chose this was not because I'm a distributor. It's because I have had 2 other disc cutters in the past, and this is a quick and simple way to be able to cut a hole or punch disc.
Yes.
And for people like me, 6-7 years ago, when I was still trying to figure out which direction I was going and trying to figure out which techniques will work for me, a quick and easy way for me to make money was to punch out a disc, polish it, and then put it on an earring. Something so simple. So I tried the cheap ones, hated them. I got a Swanstrom, broke the handle off like the 4th time that I used it, and because that handle overhangs.
Right.
But I do have to say that I chose this one for the quality of the tool and not for the simple fact that I'm a distributor. I like it because of the knob, and I wanted to reach up to the screen and turn the knob, but I like it because of the knob and such in the center of it. It's very easy to open. It's very easy to close, with the spring loading in the center of it. It's very simple. It's heavy enough that you feel the quality.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you, like with Lindsay tools, you feel the quality when you pick it up. And for me, quality is a big deal. When I'm messing around with tools. But also for the price of this one, I think it's something around like $189 or $200. It'll serve its purpose, and it should pay for itself if it's something that you were going to buy. But I love it because just the way that it's made is just so much better than the Swanstrom that I had.
I love that it's made in Oklahoma in America, and David is a great guy, and he makes really good tools. And I have a lot of his tools, and I love the things that he's coming out with. I just got a package in with the nano blades, and I'm just dying to try those out. And he's great. Yeah. You have a question, you just call him. He's helpful. He's I love dealers like that who really have an interest in whether the artist is succeeding. Okay,
it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Yeah, he doesn't care.
No, your number 5 is, and I'm gonna probably mess up his name, Ely Ganimines.
You want me to say it?
Yes, hummingbird holders.
Ely Ganime.
Ganime.
I think it's Ely Ganime. He is an absolute darling. For 1, I adore him. For 2, I have always hated third hands. I hate fiddling with them. The stupid little clamp ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no
way.
I stopped using them a long time ago. I've tried various others, that were handmade by other people, and just throw them all in the trash. And I got so tired of it that, because I have a weird thing where with my hands, I can do the same thing with my left hand as I can with my right hand. I'm not completely ambidextrous. Like the writing, I can go ahead and do the writing, but I'm more right hand dominant. But so for me, I can switch hands. I can pick solder with either hand. It doesn't matter. But the trouble that I've had is the simple fact that sometimes, like the pick, if I'm trying to press down and actually solder something on, and I'll have to like press it down as I go. But, every now and then that pick will stick, or it will, I'll press down too hard or something like that, and I'll end up leaving a dent because the metal has to get so red hot. But what I found with his hummingbirds is I don't seem to have that problem. All I have to do is line it up and then put the tip down and then lay the base of it down. Done. Super simple. I mean, I prefer usually not to use third hands, but I've been using those an awful lot lately.
Yeah.
I really do like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very, very well made. He's a gentleman to deal with.
He's got some great videos, and I use his Corian lapidary flats for doing sapphires and hard stones. He makes these really great lapidary
Really?
flats that have grooves in them, and that's how you do your final polish on your hard stones. He's the only one
Right.
I know of that makes them, and his prices are great, and he ships them right out, and I love his
Well,
videos.
he's an engineer, isn't he? I believe he's an
I don't
engineer.
know.
I could be wrong, but I know he really is a very brilliant man, and he's very, very kind.
Yeah.
Just, I adore the man, and the tools are very well made as well.
Yeah.
Lots of fun to use.
So your number 4 is a standard. It's the Smith acetylene torch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's one of those tools that's there's two different versions of it. You have the Smith Silversmith and the Smith Handy Heat, and which is more advertised for brazing and such. And when I talk to people, I always try and make this clear, and they're like, "What torch do you use?" This is the torch that I use because it will take all different tip sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So the only difference between the Silversmith and the Handy Heat is the size of the tips that it comes with. But you can always get more, the different size tips later on down the road separately. So I collected all of the different size tips, and I used just that torch. I don't need oxygen unless I'm melting something ridiculous, like 5 ounces of silver.
Yeah.
So I don't need the oxygen for it. That torch has done everything I've asked it to and more. And so I'm super pleased with it. It's definitely one of my favorites.
I have that torch, but when I came to Montana, I forgot the part off my tank, so I haven't been able to use it all summer. So I thought, well, maybe I should just turn my tank back in since I figured out a way not to have to use my acetylene torch all summer. But then, of course, I missed the deadline to return it, so I'm like, I'll just pay it and just keep it another year and use it for casting or whatever. It's a great, solid torch that will let you do a whole variety of things. It's a great one.
Well, you should be able to find the new attachment. You can get that off from Cyberweld if you know what you're looking for.
I just hate leaving the house.
You can have it shipped to you, dear. It's okay. That's what I do.
I didn't even think about that. Your number 3 is your Fordham Tumbler, and I think you were talking about this the other day on your group or another group about how the other ones were leaking, but this one does not leak. Is that right?
I love this. I love this. Yes, that's right.
That'd be worth the money then.
The idea of a tumbler is enchanting, for a metal artist. You take a piece, you get the zinc off after you pickle it if you use Spherics like I do. But, you give it a quick brush off when you're finished pickling it. You toss it into something, you give it 20 minutes, you pull it out, it's bright and shiny and ready to go. I mean, that is an artist, a silversmith's dream right there. But the problem is every single one of these other tumblers that I've ever had, I've had Lorton, I've had Harbor Freight, I've used, oh gosh, there was another one. I think I had 2 Lortons, and then I had to try and combine them. So the black rubber barrel is made of rubber. So a lot of the burnishing compounds they come with something that's that will break it down. The cleaning agents will eventually break it down. Next thing you know, with these black rubber, I remember the other one. Next thing you know, with these black rubber barrels, you're going to get this gray dinge, and you can't seem to get rid of it. Well, it's because the barrel's getting eaten away on the inside. Right. And that's normal. That's, if you're not polishing rocks in those like they're meant for, you're kind of sort of asking for it, and to a certain extent, and likely unknowingly. There was another one, the Orange A jewelry tumbler, and those, not only did they leak, after a while, they would start losing their grip on the spinners, and then they would quit spinning. And then you'd take the rubber bands, you put the rubber bands on it, and all this other stuff that you would do. And after a while, it just became a hassle. Lorton doesn't even have an on and off switch on theirs. I even made one and put it on there, or bought one and put it on there, cut into the cord. So there's always one thing or another that's a hassle. Then I got this one off from that Jim Brandvik had suggested off from Amazon that was called the Orange A one, and it's definitely a purely Chinese, Hong Kong, whatever. It's even gotten the writing on it. It's so cool looking though. It had the plastic barrel. Oh, I've had a durable too. It leaked. It was trashed. so I tried this Orange A. It was the best one so far. It never stopped spinning. The belts never really wore out, but it leaked all the time. And I, you can fiddle around with it, fiddle fart around with it, but I did like it because it had a reverse function. So you can change the speed setting with the dial, but you can also have your reverse function. With this one, everything is right up front. You can actually time it to go forwards 2 minutes, backwards 2 minutes, or forwards for 10 minutes, backwards for 10 minutes. You can set a timer on it. The on and off switch is right there. It's not hard to get to. I can't say it does not leak. It hasn't stopped spinning. I'm in love with this thing. The problem is you're gonna get what you pay for when you buy from Fordham, but you definitely get to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I want to say that the machine itself is like $300 or $400.
Yeah, they're not.
But
they're
I
pricey.
went for broke and got it, and I'm not sorry. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep that in mind when my orange one goes bad.
Good idea. Well, when your orange one goes bad, I might have another one around here. I'll send to you.
Okay.
You can salvage parts.
So your number 2 tool is the Fordham Benchmate. I love this tool also. And which things do you use on it? Which do you like to use, the radial wheels or?
Oh yeah, I've got it right here, actually, to show you. So I use the yellow muslin. I think it's muslin. Yeah, so I use the yellow wheels, the 4-inch wheels. I really prefer these ones. Maybe it's just because that's what I'm used to. And you find in this craft that a lot of times you're just going to get used to the tools that you have, and that's good. So I'm really, really used to this one. But recently I tried out one of the, I want to say it's a 3M, the satin wheels, and fell absolutely in love with it. So I really do like using that one as well.
I don't think I know what that is.
This one's definitely, it's like a 3M kind of like Scotch-Brite type pad.
Are they green?
And it gives a satin finish.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like they're Scotch-Brite, kind of Scotch-Brite wheels.
Yeah, and they have green and red ones.
What compound do you use on your muslin wheels?
I have been using Fabulister for years and years and years. I like it. I've always disliked the fact that it left that really, really super black residue. Zam, I've just started recently using because of Lucy Walker's classes. It definitely has less of that black residue, but I feel like Fabulister just does a better job of it. So I kind of stick with that, and then I'll clean it, and then I'll finish it with red rouge.
Yep.
So that's primarily what I use.
Your number 1 is the 50-ton jewelry press by Potter USA. Yes. I bet that's a nice. I have the 20-ton power press, but I never thought I needed to go big. But no. What do you use it for primarily? Because you don't do a lot of dye, do you? Dye pressing?
No.
So are you using it for your textures?
Yeah, you can use it for the textures. Primarily what I use it for is impression dyes. Actually, the 50-ton came in handy when I had to rebuild my Durston. I had to press my own bearings back into the blocks.
Wow.
And it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of pressure, but I used it for that. It's also a lot of fun when your dad comes over and you have a couple of beers and he says, "Hey, will that thing crack a hickory nut?" And I'm like, "Let's try it." But in all honesty, I mostly use it in my impression dyes. The majority of them, you really have to be careful when they have super fine detail. Kevin cautions against going up as high as 50 tons, but sometimes it's nicer to go a little bit higher than the 20 tons that you have.
To like 30.
So, and mine I bought secondhand. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right around there. So it's a little bit easier to use than some of them. The dragon dyes are one of them. The dragon ring dyes, you really have to be able to push in there. So
yeah, some of those dyes take a lot of force. I did the manual for a while, and I was like, it hurt my shoulder and my arm sometimes getting in having to redo them so many times. And the electric has been fantastic. I love it.
I agree.
Okay,
absolutely, and I have manual too.
Thank you so much for your time today. I learned so much about your process and your inspiration and even about the tools. And so I want to just reiterate to everybody to take advantage of this unbelievable offer that only comes by once in a blue moon for your texture plate to get that boho weed patch. And that, to remind them, they only have 24 hours to take advantage of the sale, and it's 15% off, and the code is JMG15.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much. And you
Yeah.
have a great evening with your family, and go and pack that pallet and have fun moving that stuff. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go enjoy some TV thinking about you.
Oh, have a couple of glasses of wine for me. It's going to be a long night.
I'll do
Thank
that.
you very much, Tonya.
Bye.
Bye.